Donald Trump invited Sean Hannity to travel with him to the Middle East. And last night on Air Force One, this is not the Qatari Force One that Trump is being gifted. Not yet. This is the normal Air Force One. Sean Hannity was granted an interview with Donald Trump. Now, it's very important to understand that the entire framing here is that this was supposed to be a softball interview. This was supposed to be an easy interview, a comfy sit down, literally and figuratively, with Sean Hannity, Trump's human security blanket, on Air Force One. Somehow, even the world's softest interview, it's like a wet noodle. It turned into a pathetic meltdown from Donald Trump. Now, really understand that this is access journalism. Hannity's there as Trump's friend, and he's there to make him look good. He's not there to ask hard questions or figure out, why are you accepting a $400 million plane from Qatar, who you previously called terrible human rights abusers? Why are you talking about how hot Saudi Arabia is, not literally but figuratively as a country, and bowing down and sucking up to the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, despite the fact that he had a journalist dismembered? That is not what Hannity is there to ask. But there are some interesting things to look at in this interview. Interestingly, the interview begins with Hannity talking about how beautiful Air Force One is, and Trump agrees. This would normally be a throwaway moment from the interview, but it's relevant because of the other plane that Trump is under fire for accepting. So listen to this.
President?
Hi, thank you very much.
Okay, by the way, we're on a beautiful Air Force One. Not a bad plane.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. It's a beautiful plane, and we're doing a lot of business. We have a lot of good things happening.
There you go. It's a beautiful plane. They all agree. Except it's not good enough, because Donald Trump, I guess, has convinced himself that he needs a $400 million luxury plane given to him by Qatar, a plane reportedly worth more than every single foreign gift to an American president combined over the last 24 years. But Air Force One is just not nice enough. And here is Donald Trump saying, listen, Air Force One is 40 years old. It's getting a little long in the tooth. We need a nicer plane, and why wouldn't I accept it from the human rights abusing Qataris? Listen to this.
The plane that you're on right now is almost 40 years old. And when you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and you see all this, and they have these brand new Boeing 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it, this is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller. It's much less impressive as it is. And, you know, we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane. So anyway, so they said to me, we would like to, in effect, we would like to make a gift. You've done so many things. And we'd like to make a gift to the Defense Department, which is where it's going. And I said, well, that's nice. Now, some people say, oh, you shouldn't accept gifts for the country. My attitude is, why wouldn't I accept a gift? We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't I accept a gift from a group that I've identified as terrible human rights abusers, who certainly don't just give gifts with no expectation of what they might get? The thing would certainly be crawling with surveillance devices. Why wouldn't I accept that? Trump can't think of any reason. Well, even Republicans are turning against Trump over this plane. Then the topic of healthcare came up. It may not shock you to hear that Donald Trump did not delineate his healthcare plan in this interview. I guess it's still just a couple of weeks away. And Trump now has figured out healthcare. He's not giving us the answer yet, but he's figured it out.
I would fight so hard to get a half a point, and I actually had it down a half a point for 1 year, and I was so proud of myself because that never happened before. It was always going up. Drugs only went in one direction. It's up. And now, after studying the industry, it's a very complex industry, but I figured it out, and I said, it's not going to happen. But the Democrats fought very hard to keep the prices of drugs very, very high. They really are to blame for this because they should have done something about it.
Trump figured it out, And everything that's not working is the fault of Democrats. He figured it out, but when he promised a phenomenal healthcare plan in 2015 and 2016, it didn't quite materialize. When they finally came up with an idea in 2017, it was so bad, it would have led to 24 to 32 million Americans losing healthcare coverage over the following decade, that everybody abandoned it. And since that failed attempt in 2017, we're always 2 weeks away from a plan. In August of 2020, he told Chris Wallace on Fox that we're 2 weeks away from signing it into law. We still haven't seen the plan. In 2024, he still didn't have it. He said, well, I haven't been president. Of course I don't have the plan, but I have concepts of a plan. And now all of a sudden we're to believe that he cracked it like this morning's Wordle. The truth is Trump has been promising this plan for years, and there is no plan. There never was. He figured it out the moment it was an empty catchphrase and he didn't actually have to do any of the work. Big, beautiful replacement for Obamacare, he told, I think it was Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes when running for president the first time. And then we get to the weirdest part of the interview, where Trump, again, fixated on the cost of Ozempic, talks about his overweight friend who wanted the fat shot drugs. And this is Trump's best interview. He can only look worse than this. And this is a disaster.
A friend of mine who's slightly overweight, to put it mildly, went to a drugstore in London, and he was able to get one of the fat shots. I call it the fat shots, the jabs, that you lose weight.
By the way, a lot of people laugh at that. Some people get offended, but I don't get offended by anything.
I'm just glad I didn't use his name. He's actually a very rich guy. He's a very successful guy.
He's glad you didn't use his name.
No, he's very happy.
Oh.
He knows exactly who I was talking about. He called. He said, that was interesting. He said he was very concerned that I might use his name. It might slip. No, he doesn't have to worry. But he went to London, and he bought this...
Ozempic, Wegovy, one of those?
I guess, yeah. I'm not sure which one. But he
None of them really know what they're called.
bought one of them, maybe Ozempic. And he bought it, and he called me. He said, hey, strange thing happened. I just bought a drug. Same company, same plant, same everything. Everything was the same. In one case, I paid in New York $1,300, and in London, I'm paying $88.
Right.
He said, what's going on? Now, he knew nothing. He's a very smart guy. He's a very rich guy. His big problem is he's seriously overweight. But I don't think the drug worked, okay,
right,
to be honest with you. But it makes him feel good anyway. But so what happens is he just...
This was a friendly, prearranged Fox News fluff piece, and Trump still could not manage to keep it together. And as we've talked about before, if you can't get through a friendly Hannity interview where he's just glad to be invited on Air Force One without sounding like a confused hotel guest ranting about airplane design and pharmacy trips, you probably shouldn't be near the nuclear codes. And the kicker, of course, as we go back to the Qatar plane story, it's not just that it's embarrassing, it might be criminal. We're going to dig into this later today. The Constitution forbids presidents from accepting gifts of value from foreign governments without congressional approval. It's called the Emoluments Clause. It might remind you of season 1 of the Trump presidency, his first term. Trump never cared. There have never been consequences. But by every reasonable assessment, this entire Qatari plane thing is illegal. Doesn't matter. If there's no way to get you to follow the law anymore, well, that's the question we're now up against. Guys in my audience, I know you're tired of the chafing with traditional underwear. Our sponsor, Sheath, makes the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. If you're sick of the boxers that are too loose or the briefs that are too tight, Sheath is for you. Sheath underwear is designed with 2 special pouches in the front. Keeps everything separate in its own compartment with extra confidence that you will feel throughout the day, keeping things separate and comfortable, no more sticking and chafing. I was skeptical about the dual pouch, I admit it, but it is game-changing. Everything stays where it is supposed to be, extra useful when working out at the gym, and even if you don't want to use the pouches, you don't have to. It is still the most comfortable pair of underwear I have ever owned. It will blow your mind how soft and stretchy these are, made with moisture-wicking technology to keep you dry. If you were ready to take underwear comfort to a new place, a place you didn't even know it could go. Head over to sheathunderwear.com/Pacman and get 20% off with the code Pacman. The link is in the description.